The SPY today confirmed some pretty darn baffling signals as we get into some technical analysis today, and we look for the daily reversal and the daily confirmation of these divergences. Well, we might have ran our head into trap number two, something that we were mentioning last week, mentioning how trap number one might have been this little push here, and we are going to build up into trap number two. So what we're going to do is mainly talk about the SPY cues and volatility today. We're going to be talking about the daily expected moves, so make sure you do have those as implied volatility does increase. And we do have these reversal signals that have confirmed outside of the monthly expected move. So what we're going to do is we're not going to waste too much time. We're just going to hop right into it. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for liking. And please, if you're new here and you find something in this video very helpful or anything like that, you want to stick around, please subscribe. That would be fantastic. First of all, what have we done as of today? Well, for the SPY on the 2-hour chart, I really want to get into this, but I first want to just remind us of the daily divergences are still there. Multiple point daily divergence on the MACD, suggesting that a weekly pullback is coming. These things do leak out for a lot of time. That's why we have mentioned September 30th many, many times for that actual quarterly OPEX. But we look at 2-hour charts on this channel to see if we get any weakness in momentum, which it does look like we do have a weakness in momentum signal. Did that confirm? Yes, it did. So we did see that confirmation, and we were right. And this is why you should watch all the way through the end of the video, because we were right to point out with volatility at the end of yesterday's video. I noticed that the watch time, the actual average there was a little bit low, and a lot of people didn't see that. We were talking about how volatility was showing that all of this good price action to the upside is probably a trap. It has high probability to be a trap. So make sure you watch to the end of the video. But we do have a 2-hour confirmation here. What dictates a good 2-hour confirmation of this divergence? Well, first we got to point out the divergence here on the MACD. We got to zoom into that RSI so that you can see it. You can see that this point right here and this point right here just slightly higher, so not the most significant. That's going to be important as we look at the cues and we discuss what could happen tomorrow. What this is saying is this could be the time where we actually do see that daily chart reverse down. Always expect bounces before that does happen and things like that into the expiration at the end towards Friday, but maybe we see a wipeout. So the confirmation here with the price action happened below the 9 on the 2-hour. We got the good confirmation with the price action. We got the good confirmation with the MACD. Still in positive territory with a little room here, so watch if that curls up. That would be a good management for the trade. And we get that confirmation from the RSI. So check, and it looks like we might be curling down that daily time frame soon. But let's take this in stride and say, hey, if the 2 hours pointing down, what level can we pay attention to? Well, for tomorrow to the downside, you can pay attention to 659.38 to the downside if the 2-hour wants to continue in that downward direction. But if the 30-minute chart is able to curl up into what positive territory as it is close to that center line, you do have some 5-minute divergence here. I don't trust 5-minute divergences too much, and we are outside of this yellow line. So let's first talk about the 30-minute move. Bouncing off of the 5, if the 30-minute is able to curl up into positive territory, price action would say you watch out for sellers here towards 665.92, and you watch out for sellers here towards about 664.50. Those would be some high selling levels. But if this 30-minute is able to confirm to the upside, our daily expected move is suggesting that 667.04 could become important tomorrow. It would suggest in positive territory, if that curls up, we are very likely to get to, or at least priced in from the options data with a 68% chance and a 75% chance to tag that line, 667.04, just so you're aware. Yes, we still do talk about both sides. We are traders. We trade like water. We are not mind readers. That is a very, very important distinction. Now, something here that could be taking place is the Qs are looking pretty interesting. So the Qs have the same thing, right? They had the 30-minute divergence on the MACD, not the RSI at the same time, suggesting that the 2-hour had a weak chance to curl over here. What's the problem with the 2-hour chart? Well, the reason we might want to be looking for a trap number 3 will be displayed here by the Qs. You can see that we did not have a divergence on the MACD. We did not have the divergence on the RSI. We didn't have anything, and we're very far from the center line, which just invites what? It means from the Qs to be very confident that this is going to be an actual top before the daily is actually able to roll. You would want to see still that lower high or a potential divergence point set over here. And that's just because you have so much room on this MACD. You do not have divergence like you do on the SPY. You do not have it on the RSI like you have it on the SPY. So this could just be a 2-hour pullback. And so if it's going to 2-hour pullback, maybe for another day or so, well, you might want to be paying attention to a daily expected move of 593.70. So if this is just going to be a pullback and we want to see if this thing can rotate up, we can look for 30-minute signals around this area. And then the 30-minute, if we wanted to see continued upside here, if we want to get another positive move to try to test this high, go make a new one. Well, then this 30-minute has to curl up tomorrow, and you have to make it through waves of sellers. So we're going to talk about those sellers first. Those sellers at the very tippy top here would be about 601.83 is what I've already looked at here. And then in the middle of this would be about 599.90. So you got to make it through these sellers in here. If you're able to do so, though, and you're able to curl this up, it would say, hey, you have a good probability to do what? Test the high. That would be testing this block up into here or going up to 602.70 for the Qs. So the Qs are the one that are suggesting that we could continue the bullish behavior either on 2-hour charts or daily charts. This is why it is very important to watch the whole video because, yes, I do say that for the Qs, but volatility is the main thing that I'm paying attention to right now because volatility is saying all this crap is a trap. And that's just the truth of it. Now, volatility after a nice solid upward move, this is what we were pointing out. So hopefully you now will be watching most of the video because we were pointing out that even though the SPY was making new highs, the VIX was not making continued new lows. Instead, they were making higher lows the entire time. So we were able to hold those higher lows. We were able to see that burst to the upside. One signal that I would watch out for from volatility, one, let's talk about if volatility is to continue. It is very likely that volatility will want to back off down to the center line, maybe come down into or grind down into a price point of about not price point, but a reading of about 1640, come down into that center line and be able to curl up into positive territory again. That's when we'll look out for divergences. But as of right now, watch carefully if the 2-hour gets a full reaction down. If the 2-hour can get a full reaction down, we could have a full-fledged reversal here. So that's something worrisome to watch for. But overall, why is this? And this is just something to watch for, right? Right now, volatility's popping. Volatility's all the rave right now. But why are we really paying attention to this? The daily signal. And this is what we posted to Patreon. So hopefully you think about joining. It is only $7. Costs you a very nice little cup of coffee, but a little $7 cup of coffee to join us over on Patreon, where we just posted this. We literally just zoomed in on this MACD and we were like, look, guys, the MACD is finally going positive. Why was that important? Well, because if you zoom out on all this, you'll start to see that there is major divergence all along this MACD, all along the RSI at the same time. Look at that RSI breaking out above the center there. So the very, very likely scenario here is we are creating that top, just like we suggested we were going to do early on this week. We can always hold sideways or slow grinding, make another divergence point up into September 30th. But for now, it looks like volatility is saying, hey, you might get a 2-hour pullback for volatility, meaning we might see one more move higher. But it's starting to get less and less probable and more probable that volatility is getting this right. And we are about to see volatility scream to the upside, where I do think volatility will go up into a point where it might even tag upwards towards, if this is really going to extend into, say, not only October, but November, we could extend this and go all the way up to a reading of about 55 or 50. And I think that would be very intense. So I wanted to put all this information out there. Volatility is the big signal to be watching, and I'm loving every second of it. The SPY is still suggesting that it is following volatility. And even though this is a squeeze in some way, it's not big enough to violate the volatility signals. And people know something before you do. That is why volatility is going up. People are not, rich people aren't buying calls, or they are hedging seriously right now. And that's a big deal as we go into the end of September. So this is going to be a critical time. And the only one that is overall suggesting that we can or should go higher is the Qs. And I'm not going to put all my faith in tech stocks. I'm going to really pay attention to volatility, and I will continue to update you as these things change. So as of right now, looking into tomorrow, we would say, hey, if the 2-hour wants to continue, we can pay attention to 659.38 to the downside. If we want to get a 30-minute reaction to the upside, we showed off some levels with price action to watch. But if we're able to curl up into positive territory on this MACD down here, well, then that would suggest looking at 667.04, which would take you once again outside of the monthly expected move, the decision-making area for September, meaning this is a very likely area where we start to see some kind of consolidation or a pullback. And with all the reversal signals from volatility, I think it might be a little more than a pullback. It might be a weekly one. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys are having a great week out there. I hope you're having a great day, and I hope you have a fantastic night. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, maybe on YouTube if I have a little extra time. All right. Peace out.